This is a presentation of the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA.
Montreal, site of the 1976 Olympic Games, but this week, host of the top gymnasts in the world. Olympic Stadium, the venue where Morgan Hurd aims to become the next great American woman to win world all-around gold. For the men, a Cuban star aims to make history for his country, while China tries to return to the top of the world. For the Americans, the newly crowned U.S. champ makes his World Championships debut.
Get the gold medals ready again.
The Olympic Channel, home of Team USA, presents the World Gymnastics Championships from Montreal. Hello, everyone. I'm John Roethlisberger, joined by Olympic champions Nastia Liukin and Tim Daggett, and we are halfway through the men's all-around finals. But, Tim, the biggest story might be who's not in this competition.
And that would be this man right here, the gymnastics god. I call him the greatest that has ever been, Kohei Uchimura. That vault, a little bit of a low landing and a crunch on that left ankle as you see him grabbing it. He's done this vault for some time. Many people have wondered how he could put it around to his feet and land like that and survive those injuries. It was just a little bit too much for him. Here in Montreal, he would have been going for his 7th in a row all-around title. And in between those world titles, he's got 2 Olympic all-around gold medals. If you think he's not the greatest in the world, then you ain't been paying attention.
Very disappointing for a lot of gymnastics fans out there to see that streak come to the end. And Tim, you mentioned it. If you want to get in a debate about who the greatest gymnast of all time, I think we'll have that argument with you. 3 Olympic gold medals, 6 times, 6 in a row. World Championships is unbelievable, but that door is open, and there are a lot of gymnasts, Nastia, that got a shot to get that world title.
Absolutely, such as Oleg Vernayev. Of course, he won that silver medal at the all-around. Manrique Larduet from Cuba, of course, really trying to make history for his country in the qualifying round of competition. He finished in 1st place. Now remember, those scores do not carry over to the all-around finals. 2nd place all-around at the 2015 World Championships, and as amazing as that silver medal is in an all-around competition, gold is better, and that is what his motivation is here tonight.
And newly minted U.S. all-around champion from the Oklahoma Sooners. This is Yul Moldauer, one of the classiest, cleanest gymnasts I've ever seen, and he shows it off on skills just like that. He's been doing a great job. If there's an area he needs to get better in, his gymnastics has to get a little bit more difficult.
So you can see after 3 rotations, the Russians have a lock in the top 2 spots. Nikita Nagorny currently our leader, but it is jam-packed 1 through 8. Anyone can still win this competition. There's our current leader, Nikita Nagorny. And this is our gymnast who is in 3rd place, Zhao Rotong on vault.
He adds an extra half turn to the vault. We've seen a few times here. Triple foam, really good. And really good.
Watching at the very beginning, it was almost looking like he was running in slow motion, and then he just rebounded in the air and twisted so quickly.
He just trotted into it.
Yeah, and he just explodes off this table right here. 3 times around. Look at how fast. That's slow motion. We slowed that down.
And it looks like regular speed.
Just a little bit of a leg separation, too, from board to table, which is impressive on this vault. This should get a very good score. That's a 3/10 step. He stayed in bounds.
Should definitely be pleased with that. He will go to parallel bars next at 14.9. A little lower than maybe you thought, Tim?
A little bit. So what did they take? They took 9/10 off on that vault, and that's my point. I think that judging has gotten to the point where it's too hard.
Yeah, I don't think I could have found 9/10. Now, I'm not a professional judge, but you know, having a few years experience in the sport, I really don't think I could have found almost a point there.
Enrique Lardouet.
And he's got a huge vault to handspring double front with a half turn 3 times around. Oh! Wow!
That vault looked angry.
Bam!
Woo. And he had to have that one. Sitting in 11th, he needs to really hit a couple home runs, and this was one.
This was a grand slam. Heck, was not a home run. That was unbelievable. This is called a Dragulescu, named after the great Romanian gymnast who will show his vault once again in the event finals. Just the tiniest of hops on the landings.
Wow.
And this is the problem. A guy like him, he makes that look like it's really not that hard.
.966. So the judges are finding a way to deduct, but man, 2 amazing vaults to start this rotation as Ling Xiaopeng will get his chance.
And he does the same vault as we just saw from his countrymen. It's a Kasamatsu with 2 extra twists. Another really nice vault. Wow, what a rotation.
So, man, rotation 4 starts out with a bang, and we still got Kenzo Shirai yet to come on vault. The World Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by AT&T. All right, so we've caught our breath in the booth just in time for another big vaulter, Oleg Vernayev.
Big potential, same vault. Really nicely done, a bigger step than we just saw from Lardouet, but a very good job. I'm sure he's really a little bit disappointed in himself, though. The fall on pommel horse, but really good air.
Just perfectly straight on that turn, landed right on the line.
3 times around, and look at his eyes are focused in on the ground right there. Maybe just needed to stick his feet a little bit further in back of him on the landing.
Oleg was sitting in 12th place, about a 1.5 point now out of first. So this is an event, obviously, he's going to score big right there. And he goes to parallel bars, which he is arguably the best in the world on. We see his 14.833. So he'll move ahead of some of those other competitors in the top 10 with that vault score. But he's got a chance on the next event. He's got to get close before he heads into his last event, the high bar. And this is the guy we've been waiting for. One of the best in the world on this event, Kenzo Shirai.
He did this so well. It was unbelievable. The Yurchenko style. Triple full. Slides back on the landing, and that was not as good.
And we saw vaults with the same start value and similar deduction score, about that 14.9 range. So probably should expect to be right around there again.
The benefit he has is this is a cleaner vault from the start of the vault as he leaves the board. Watch, his legs are perfectly together, whereas when you don't do this style vault, it's very easy to get form deductions at the beginning. Yes, his feet are crossed. That's 1/10 of a point, and that is a 3/10 hop right there. I think he should still have a little bit higher score than we've seen so far, but not by a lot. I misspoke when I said Rutang had about 9/10 taken off. It was about 7.
So there you go, a 15, and that is actually the highest vault score of the competition, slightly higher than Manrique Larduet's score of a 14.966. A big 15 for Kenzo Shirai. David Beliavsky, a tough act to follow, a bunch of great vaults. If he wants to hang in that second spot, he's going to have to put up something big.
And he used to do a Sukahara double pike. He is not doing that anymore, and I'm sure he's happy about that because it's just a crazy vault. He'll also do that triple twisting Sukahara style vault right here. And a good landing. You know, if the judges are going to be strict, though, I don't think he got completely all the way around. 3 complete twists. That's being really picky, but...
And that would be big
yeah,
if he didn't do that, because that would mean it would devalue the vault.
Well, let's see. I think they're going to give him that. They're definitely going to give him that.
Will.
But his upper body certainly had not completed all 3 twists. You see his feet hit and his shoulders come square to the vaulting table. Very, very close. He'll be fine.
So what a vault clinic that we just saw, one after the other from the top spots, which we talked about a lot of these guys making a move in the standings, but when the guys you're trying to make a move on are putting up big scores, as we see the 14.783, it's tough to make a move when everybody's putting up big numbers.
But I'll tell you, overall, the entire field has been incredible, and so few errors from the top athletes here.
Caio Souza, this was earlier on. He is sitting in the 4th spot heading into high bar.
Nice reverse hecht, and you see the lights there.
If it's hard for us to see, what's the gymnast thinking?
One of the biggest issues for both men and women while in Montreal was the lighting. And so he's got to grab that bar, and we're obviously looking at it from a different angle than he is, but a lot of the athletes have been saying they have been losing the ground, losing the bar in the air as they're flipping in the lights.
And especially on a release move like that, Tim, as you said, both for the men and the women, it can be actually a little bit dangerous and scary at times when you let go. You're not able to see the ground or the bar when you're catching it again.
I do think that he was definitely far from the bar. He had a little bit too much energy traveling over the bar, but it's possible that that had an impact. Many athletes have said that they've had huge problems with it here in Montreal. Of course, so he falls on that element, one of his most difficult, so he'll lose the value points of that, and he'll incur a full 1-point deduction. So he will definitely drop in the standings with this high bar performance.
So the high bar claims another victim, and that's another wild card to this whole thing, is you're going to see guys make moves, because high bar is one of those events that you can have big mistakes in a blink of an eye, and it can cost you big time, as we saw from Caio Souza right there. They also have to go to pommel horse on their last rotation. So a lot of gymnastics, and again, from rotation to rotation, a lot of things can happen. Our leader after 3, Nikita Nagorny. Getting set on the parallel bar.
He really just looked a little bit off in qualifying. And this routine is very, very intricate. He does a skill where he'll swing his body below the bar and then grab on one rail in a one rail handstand and go into a very critical skill right there. And he, once again, he doesn't pull it off. He's supposed to stay on that bar and do what's called a Healy twirl, or a full spin out of it. Now, he's really not going to get a lot of execution deductions. He will on that. Dismount. Great fight for that landing.
Now, you mentioned it was still pretty clean, Tim. How much is that missed difficulty going to hurt him?
It's going to cost about 0.3 of a point, because I'm sure the skill is replaced by something else. Now, he could have come into the competition and decided that he just wasn't going to do it. That skill he also struggled on in the qualifying rounds, but he dealt with it much better today. Right into his dismount right here, which he's like a cat in the air. Just kind of grabs the floor with his feet. He can do better, but much improved from day one.
He's actually asking if if the judges are going to count that skill and if he's going to get that difficulty.
Well, he has to.
And his coach actually said, why not?
Well, if he didn't hold it, if he didn't stay there for 1 second on one rail, then he will not get credit for that. But I think he very well could have.
He scored a 13.9, by the way, in his qualification on the parallel bar. So we'll see if the judges think this one was better.
Which in qualifying, I thought that it was a little generous, to be honest, because it was a little bit all over the plate. Once again, when the judges are conferencing like this, it's usually not that great.
A 14.541, though, Tim. That's quite a bit better than his qualification score.
But he is not ecstatic about that.
Now, Yul Moldauer needs to answer all these other big scores, needs to hang in there, hit a clean set to keep pace.
Big release for him. It's a relatively new skill. He just floats in the air on that. And this is really where he showcases, in my opinion, just how clean he is. Look at the great straight arms, but two hand placements right there. 0.2 of a point off. This very difficult giant with a full pirouette on one arm. Really needs a stick, though, at the end of this routine. It's one of his best qualities, but he hasn't been as great as typical here in Montreal. Let's see it, double front half. And there you go.
He must have heard you talking, Tim. In a 14.533, that was earlier in this rotation. So keeps pace with the leader, Nikita Nagorny, on that event. So 4 rotations are done. We have 2 left here in Montreal at the 2017 World Gymnastics Championships. Live from New York, it's Saturday night. Live with host Gal Gadot and musical guest Sam Smith. All new Saturday Night Live later tonight on NBC. Back in Montreal, standings after 4 rotations in the men all-around finals. China currently has the lead, Zhao Roteng. But man, oh man, it is tight from first all the way to 8th. I don't even want to have to speculate on who's going to be on the top at the end of this. But right now, it's Zhao Roteng trying to bring all-around glory back to China and get on that podium. the American Yul Moldauer moved up one spot in that last rotation, and he will go to the high bar next and finish on floor exercise again. He just needs to keep grinding away and doing what he's doing and hitting clean, Tim. Yeah, and he's going to finish firmly in that top 10, I would suspect.
Yes, he should, certainly. He's really got to get through high bar, though. He's got to be better than he was in day one. If he does that, he'll be fine. And then he's gorgeous on floor, and one of the best routines that you'll see in any competition for least amount of deductions.
But, you know, medal or no medal, this competition so far for Yul has just been, he is setting that bar very high. He's coming out here showing the world that, hey, you know, that this is my first World Championships, but this is just the beginning for me.
No question about that. In the United States, Yul has been a star since he was a little boy. I mean, people have been talking about him for a very, very long time. He went to the University of Oklahoma in his freshman year. He became the all-around champion, a feat that only Sam Mikulak had ever done before.
And he's a guy he's fun to cheer for. He's just a good dude. I don't know him well, but what I do know about him, he's fun to watch and fun to get behind.
He's a very genuine and humble person. He's got one major release skill. It's a double back flip or a Kovacs over the bar. But really what hurt him a lot, towards the end of his routine, he'll do a skill where he scoots his feet in between his legs, shoots out and does a full spin. It's called a Takamoto. And he was very, very low on that. Going to need to improve on that skill.
Here we go, 5th rotation, 2017 World Gymnastics Championships, all-around finals, Yul Moldauer.
Nice one-arm swing. Full spin at both sides right here. Much better than he did day one. He'll do one more. This one, you want to land right in the handstand. A little bit shy, but not bad. Got to grab right here. Very good. Yul is actually capable of doing a triple twisting double somersault. He only did it with one twist in the qualifying. My guess is he's doing the same thing, but that was a good choice right there because of that landing. Very nicely done, way better than he did in the qualification rounds. His coach Mark Williams concurs.
Now over to the parallel bars, to the man that made a big move after his vault, moving from 11th all the way up to 7th place. And now he goes to an event which he was a finalist at the last Olympic Games. Manrique Lardouet sits in the 7th spot, as I mentioned, but this event, the parallel bars, it's a great one for him.
It is really hard on P-bars to show that you are powerful. And it comes across like nothing in this exercise because he is so incredibly strong, and he combines that with quickness. Just floats into that. That takes so much energy. Little bit of feet separation, and that right there, he did not hold that handstand. Huge air on that release. That no hold is a 3/10 deduction, and that is just a silly little break because it was a simple handstand. Gets huge air on this too. Double front with a half. Oh. He rocked the landing in the qualification. That one has got a little bit of a hop.
And it didn't matter what he did on the bars. He wanted to stick that landing more than he wanted anything else.
Yeah, obviously I don't think he was as happy because he didn't stick the landing. I wonder, a lot of times gymnasts on this simple swing to a handstand, they don't think that they have to hold it, and it can be a mental error. He's just maybe thinking down the routine instead of staying exactly in the moment. Beautiful Stutz, huge height on that. And watch how high his hips are above the bar. That is astounding.
But again, when you have the top 8 gymnasts that are in that rotation, they're all going to be so close. Oleg, of course, had the fall early on in the competition, but every single 10th of a point counts. That hop on the landing could be something that he's looking back on.
And just a 13.333 for Yul Moldauer, but actually a bit of an improvement from his score that he got in prelims.
Yeah, a bit of an improvement, but I thought it was pretty darn clean. I think it could have been a little bit better than that.
And Enrique Larduet hits the water cooler after a nice 14.933. So a little lower than he scored in prelims, but probably some of those deductions you alluded to, Tim. Len Xiaopon getting ready to go on the parallel bars. This is an event, Tim, you talked about it. He has just been dominant on this event, maybe up until those Olympic finals back in Rio, where he just missed winning a medal on that event. But here's a chance for him to make a nice little move. He sits in 5th spot.
Yeah, he told me before the Olympic Games that he believed he had the difficult skills and the class to win gold in Rio on this event, and it did not happen.
How much is that shoulder that bothered him on rings going to rear its ugly head on this event, or how much could it?
Well, it absolutely could. You know, vaulting probably wasn't a problem for him. Any of the times where he lands on his upper arms, when his arms are down on the bars, like right there and right there. But there's something about a kitchen sink. He's got everything in this routine. Beautiful giant Diamidov. Another release right here. Gorgeous into what's called a glide kip. Huge air. Once again, he'll do this Bafsar all the way across the bar. Love that element. He's just floats above the bars. Really good routine. Nice full spin. That beep was not for parallel bars. There's no time limit on P-bars. Double pike. Ooh.
And it's like you can tell these guys, Nasi, that they know every 10th it makes a difference, and they're getting a little tight, and they want to stick those landings so bad.
They're really going after those landings, and exactly what you said. They know every single 10th of a point matters so much.
You think that hurts on your arms?
You know, I've never done anything like that, but just watching that looks so painful.
Well, John, you actually competed that. That was fun, wasn't it?
I actually did that skill much, much worse than that. You gentlemen did it, and it hurts a lot, I'll tell you that.
Double pike, and, you know, like we said, he's not happy with that landing because outside of Oleg Vernayev, everybody has been just upping the game today, and there have been so few errors from the very top gymnasts.
And a 14.8.
I think they got that about right. Had a couple of really small form breaks with his feet right off the top of the exercise that were very odd.
And now we get a chance to see the defending Olympic champion, won the gold medal on this event in Rio last year. And if he wants to put any kind of threat on the top 3 spots, this is an absolute must-hit perfection he needs to put on here on the parallel bars.
Well, I can't imagine anything other than that, because he's really tremendous here. You don't become Olympic champion by chance, that's for sure.
He is about 1.4 out of first place, but he is about 1.3. You know, that's how tight the top 3 spots are. He's about 1.3 out of the top 3 spots.
So basically, he needs help, though.
Yeah.
He's got to be his typical phenomenal self right here, and then he needs help from the guys in front of him.
He put up a humongous 15.466 in prelims on this event. In fact, I'll say it, a ginormous, a la Tim Daggett, 15.466.
Nice work right under the bars. Oh boy, and this, we have seen this skill really hurt a number of top gymnasts. Once again, the same skill that Nagorny struggled on. Niall Wilson was able to pull it off and got a 14.5. Now here is his skill from one end to the other. That wasn't a disaster. It was a miraculous recovery. Double front, half. Great landing, but it's going to cost a little bit, that's for sure.
So it might not be Oleg's night. We'll see what the judges do with that routine when we come back. The defending Olympic champion on the parallel bars unfortunately struggled through another routine. A 14.966, it's a great score, but when you go to your best event and you need a 15.5 or more to try to close some ground, that's just not going to be good enough for Oleg Vernayev. And I feel for the guy a little bit. You know, this was his chance. Second place at the Olympics last year, and Kohei Uchimura is not in this all-around final competition, and all eyes went to Oleg. This is his chance to stand on the top of that podium in the all-around for the first time, and it's just looks like it's just not meant to be. And so Shirai, currently in third place after 4 rotations. This is a big one for him.
When he travels under the bar and comes back up, they're called peaches, and sometimes his elbows bend on them, which the judges will be keying in on. He'll do some right here. Let's see if they are locked. Little bit of a bend. Nice release. Pretty good fight on that because he was a little bit back. His shoulders weren't as in balance as he would have wanted them to be. Overall, pretty clean, though. Just that slight bent elbows on the first skill I was talking about. And a very upright landing, but he did take a hop, but pretty darn good.
He didn't drop those shoulders, Nastia. You gotta like that.
Shoulders are up, but there was a hop.
And that was pretty clean. I don't know how he could have done that routine better. And just to put it in perspective, the guys he's chasing or trying to keep pace with are in the high 14s so far in this rotation.
The only place he has 2 of those release skills where he doesn't completely open his body as the judges are demanding. And because of that, you know, he's going to get some deduction. It just depends on how much. But look at how upright he lands here, Nastia. Now that's the way to do it.
He's just got to get rid of that little shuffle, and he's perfect on that landing. Definitely got to be happy with that. Now he's just got to focus on the high bar. Try to stay on the high bar, and he's going to give himself a chance to keep the tradition alive for Japan.
At a 14.666 in the qualifying with a 16-point maximum score.
I'm going to say it goes higher. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Well, it certainly was better than he did in the qualification. There's no question about that.
Nastia, can you translate?
I was just going to ask that.
I'm getting ready for Tokyo, though.
Getting a little more energy to get ready for that high bar routine. And there it is, a 14.633, so I'm wrong. But nonetheless, you know, a couple tenths lower than some of the other gymnasts on parallel bars so far, but going to put him in striking distance to win a medal here going into the last event. This young man is in second place currently, David Bilyavsky.
And he had one of the coveted 15s from this competition in qualifying on parallel bars. This is a really great routine for him. And like Vernayev, he needs it because high bar is not one of his strongest events, in my opinion. Really difficult. Maybe it was a little bit over on that first skill, that front uprise to that full spin on one arm. He makes that look way too easy, as I've said over and over again. Gymnasts all over the world have been trying to do that skill for many, many years. It was invented years ago by a Cuban gymnast, but it's much more difficult than it looks. When you do that, you go to your upper arms and then you swing your body up to a handstand. His dismount. Oh. Wow.
He wants it.
I'll tell you what, I don't remember a competition where everybody was as spot on, and just not just like 5 guys, but there's a whole field of guys that just keep rocking the house on these routines.
And if ever you're going to see a field look a little more rough, it's that year after the Olympics. You know, everybody's kind of regrouping, adjusting to the new rules, but apparently the men didn't get the memo coming into all-around finals.
Nastya, using your Russian, what did the tattoo say on his arm?
Oh, I missed it.
Really nice dismount, double front half. He's spotting the ground so early on that it doesn't make it easy, but it makes it a heck of a lot easier than if it were a blind landing.
So Russia at the 2015 World Championships did not win a medal. So obviously they had a good Olympic Games, but they're trying to get their World Championship record back on track. And it looks like between Nikita Nagorny and David Belyavsky, one of the two looks like they are going to be able to get into that top 3, barring any disasters. And your current leader partway through this rotation, Kenzo Shirai, seems loose and relaxed. Seems like he's having a good time.
Yeah, you know, he always does. He always does. He never seems to look that nervous, but I'll tell you what, with him not getting a medal on floor in Rio was shocking, because he was pegged as the definite winner before it even started.
He was the Michaela Maroney.
Yes, he was. I was just going to say that.
The vault champ that didn't win the previous Olympics. That's the funny part about gymnastics. And the painful part sometimes as well. Judges giving us a little bit of a waiting game as we see his big 15.266.
Wow. You know, I said that David I don't think one of his best events is high bar. He does score well. He's got one of those routines that is really code savvy. But I always think that he has the potential to not get back to the bar quick enough on some of those releases.
And this is your current leader after 4 rotations, Zhao Rotong from China.
Chinese have been so aggressive in this competition. Really nice underbar work there. Beautiful locked arms. Release right here. Nice kick out of the legs. That is something we've seen lacking in some of the other competitors. Big release. Oh boy. And that was dangerously close to not keeping it on his feet. Landed on his heels.
And he only had a .084 lead over David Belyavsky coming into this event. And we saw the score David got. So he might have just relinquished the lead with that landing.
Besides the landing, the routine was pretty darn good. Little bit of legs hitting the bar right there, which is a no-no in gymnastics. We're seeing it in slow motion and really zoomed in. The judges, they do not have that option. But watch this double back, and then he opens his body up. That's exactly what the judges are looking to do, and that is so incredibly hard to pull off. So let's see if, no, we can't see. Lands with his feet way out in front of him. We talk about it. It is a punishing event.
And there's a 14.6. So Zhao Rotong looks to have relinquished the lead to David Beliavsky as they head into the final rotation. $73.115. When we come back, we'll have the final rotation, and then we'll crown a women's champion and see if American Morgan Hurd can factor into the medal. Back at the World Gymnastics Championships. 5 rotations done. David Beliavsky takes over that top spot over Zhao Rotong, but the name that you might be missing from that top group of gymnasts is Nikita Nagorny. He was on high bar last rotation. He fell twice and all but eliminates himself from any kind of hope of being in that top 3. Devastating for him. Looked like he was poised to maybe even win this meet going into the last two rotations. Kenzo Shirai rounds out the top 3. This is Lin Xiaopan who will lead off the high bar rotation, and this is going to be a doozy. He is in 4th place, about 3/10 behind Kenzo Shirai for that 3rd spot.
So here we go. Big release for him. Really nicely done. Another one right here. Handles them extremely well. The Chinese had stopped doing that style of release almost in total. Right there, that was very flat, not in the handstand position. Gonna get a relatively severe deduction for that. If he puts it to his feet, a really strong effort today.
Oh. Timmy said it. These guys have just brought their A game, and one after the other is just hitting routines, and that's what you like to see, Nastia. Everybody hit, and the cream rises to the top.
Oh, absolutely, and especially without Kohei here tonight. You know, it was almost like they said, okay, well, if we can't compete against the best in the world, let's all try to be the best in the world and see who can win tonight.
Yeah, really, the only major player is Oleg Bernayev, who didn't do that, and then Nagorny from Russia was doing it throughout the competition, but on his 5th event faltered. But Lin Xiaopan has been really, really good today. That was the one place where really never got out completely. From that angle, though, wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was, and this is fabulous, though. A great landing position. You just love to see that emotion as well.
Is the cheer because you're happy about how good you did, or that you survived? It's got to be a combination of the two. I mean, high bar it's like a 6-ring circus tied up into one event. It's unbelievable.
It is, but be careful or beware, the score is not going to be as high because, like we've said over and over again, high bar, the judging has been brutal. All around the world, it's been brutal. Since the new rules came out.
I mean, the irony is we're in the city that Nadia Comaneci got the first perfect 10 at the Olympic Games. And a perfect score, I mean, you might as well go look for it on a milk carton because you're not going to find it anymore, as you see the 14.3 from Lin Xiaopan, and that is a huge score.
Absolutely huge on high bar. What a great day.
So he puts himself in a great spot as Oleg Vernayev gets up onto the event that he did in Rio, and it looked like it was the clincher for him until Kohei Uchimura came and snatched away that Olympic gold medal.
Do another one of these Tkachev-like elements. So we just saw Chopin do those double flipping elements over the bar. There are other ways to get to a high potential score. And Oleg shows them, but right there, just caught the bar too late and couldn't get his entire grip around the bar. And if he had gone for the skill, he's supposed to do a release right there. If he had gone for it, it would have been bad.
Just not quite his day today.
He still will have a chance. He is the leader on parallel bars in qualification. He will compete the final day of these World Championships on Sunday. Very much, though, I'm sure just wants to be done with this event here today. It was a very odd error. Kind of saw him shake his head a little bit, too.
Some days, it's just not your day. And that was the case for Oleg Vernayev here at this World Championships.
These releases were all done well. A reverse heck with an extra half turn brings you extra tenths of a point. So this is that full spin right here, and he just doesn't get his hand around the bar well. It was a good choice, though, because if he had attempted to go on with that, it could have been bad.
You know, and it all happens so quickly that it's almost sometimes hard to think what to do in that exact moment. But he finished that routine very well, and you see his emotions to kind of wrap up the day.
Yao Rotong sitting in second place going into this event. No standings there really don't tell you much. Too much of this rotation is yet to go for those to really mean anything at this point. Lin Xiaopon will be the first one to tell you that, as I'm sure he's sitting nervously on the sidelines waiting for the rest of the competitors to go. A 12.533 puts a fitting end in a lot of ways to Oleg Vernayev's night. Just not meant to be for him. And now Kenzo Shirai sits in third spot coming into this event. We already saw Lin Xiaopon, who was in the fourth spot, put up a 14.3. So this is going to have to be a great routine if he wants to move back ahead of Lin.
And so his major release skill coming up right here. He fell on in qualification. Couldn't get his hands around the bar. Perfect today. Another release right here. One of the few gymnasts that still does that element. Another release done in the tucked position. Very nice. Half Takamoto to a handstand. Just his dismount. Really good. Way better than qualification, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned the big mistake he had in qualification. So looking back at his score, it's really not that relevant to what he might get tonight. But if he gets a 13.984 or better, he will move back ahead of Lin Xiaopon and give himself a really great shot at an all-around medal.
Nice release skill. Does a good straight arm giant out of it. This is called a Winkler salto, named after a German gymnast from the 80s, the 1980s.
Going old school on it. I like it. Your era, Tim Daggett.
But, you know, for somebody that was considered a floor exercise specialist to now come and compete this day in the all-around finals at the World Championships and really put himself in contention for a medal, it's very impressive.
So Kenzo Shirai from Japan will have his score and crown a new champion when we return. Still to come, Zhao Rotong, and now the score for Kenzo Shirai. Oh, and a 13.966. Not quite enough to move ahead of Lin Xiaopan. I'm a bit surprised. And that's big because that, you know, that could be the difference right there between those guys getting a medal and not getting a medal, depending on what the rest of these guys do. And your leader, David Beliavsky, with his chance to make history.
So like I said, I don't think this is his most natural event, but he really works the code well. Here come the start of his releases. Very nice. Laid out to Tkachev. There's that full spin to a handstand, done in combination.
And he knows just what slipped through his fingers. Devastating.
And that's a little bit shocking. And if you get your hands around the bar at the end of that full spin, that release skill is something he's done a million times. He's a little bit shy from the handstand, but I do not understand why he didn't grab the bar there. I mean, it wasn't far at all. He just wasn't getting his chest towards the bar.
Just didn't grab it.
And that is going to be something that he lives with and remembers for, if not forever, for a very long time.
And this is the guy we talked about, had come so close so many times, finished in the top 10 more times than we can count, and this was going to be his coming out party. Oh. And on what is an easy skill for him was in his hands, and you mentioned it, Nastia, he will lose sleep over that for a long, long time.
Wow. I just don't understand because, yes, that's away from the bar, but look, it's not even far from the bar. His elbows are bent. I said this at the beginning of the show, I believe. He doesn't like getting his chest back to the bar on some of these elements. I think that's his nature for high bar, and I think it really came and got him. Oh, golly.
Ironically, he was just consoled by Kenzo Shirai and Manrique Larduet, who are potentially the two beneficiaries of that missed release move.
This reminds me a long time ago. I can't even remember what year it was, but another Russian gymnast, Alexei Bondarenko, was competing and doing phenomenally, and just in the last moments didn't do what was easy for him to do and took himself completely off the podium.
Zhao Rotong now gets ready to go, and we just saw the leader make a mistake, and you know, for an athlete that gives you an opportunity in a way, but Nastia, does that make him feel good or more nervous going into this high bar?
I was just about to say, you know, it really depends on the kind of athlete that you are, because you could see it as an opportunity, a door being open, or you could potentially see it as more pressure and knowing that you have to hit in order for you to try and make up that opportunity. So we'll see now.
Ironically enough, that 13.2 is almost enough for Beliavsky to move back into the lead. He only needed just under a 13.4.
Gotta catch the bar every single time, and he's going for it. Sometimes you see that releases get a little bit closer to the bar in these situations. Another one right here. That one was a little closer than maybe he Wanted to. Another one with a half turn here.
Beautiful, landed right on top of the bar in a handstand.
The same exact combination that we just saw David Beliavsky fall off the bar on. He handles easily.
Just the dismount.
China was phenomenal today.
And they, with that, will almost certainly come out of here with some hardware. It's just going to be who and what color. That man, Zhao Rotong, needs better than a 13.915 to overtake his teammate Lin Xiaopeng. And the way the judging's going tonight, I don't want to even speculate on what they're going to do with this.
Well, it's a very good routine, but that is a very big number on high bar. Nice air. Completes that half turn pretty much all the way around as he's reaching for the bar, which is what the judges are looking for.
To put it in perspective, he just put a 13.766 in prelims, so he's going to have to do better than that.
Well, I think this was better than he did in prelims.
See if the judges agree.
Left Nagorny hanging there, looking for a handshake. So you can see David Beliavsky, even with that fall, though he had to overtake Oleg Vernayev, who was quite a ways out. So he still moves into that third spot for the moment. Those top three gymnasts are jam-packed in there right now.
This might be more nerve-wracking actually waiting for your score than doing the routine.
It's the worst. Especially if you can tell if the judges have an issue and they're talking or conferencing.
And there it is, a big 14.4, and that is your leader, and he might not be able to be caught.
Wow. A whole heck of a lot better than he did in qualifying. China 1-2. Amazing.
I think they went home from Rio and they were just a little bit ticked off. Like, we're going back, and that's never happening again. And they started 2017 off, in this quadrennium rather, off on the right foot. Now, Manrique Larduet, I don't know if it's possible for him to catch the top spot, but certainly a medal is in play. He was a little less than a point. He needs a 15.235,
which he cannot do.
And that's for the lead. However, second and third still could be in play.
Really big air. Does them in combination as well. Very nicely done. Right to a handstand. That right there, though, was a little bit flat and should be a pretty good deduction. But just another one of those guys who was really, really good in the all-round finals of 2017. Triple twisting double.
He's a confident kid, and he should be. What a fun gymnast to watch. He's not going to win this meet, but I suspect in the next 3 years heading into Tokyo, he will be a favorite every time he steps onto the floor.
Beautiful one-arm giant called a Zhou Limin, named after a great Chinese gymnast when they first re-emerged on the international scene. So a lot of gymnasts do this dismount with 2 twists. He does 3 with 2 back somersaults. Way more difficult. Has plenty of time to spot the landing. A 1/10 hop, but that was spectacular.
He's got the only world all-around medal for Cuba as he hams it up for the crowd. He's got the only world all-around medal for Cuba. He might, we shall see, have second all-around medal for Cuba. Needs a 14.751 for second and a 14.734 for third. Really, that is the only two realistic outcomes for him. First place just too far away. I'm not sure what that was. But you know what?
He can do whatever he wants right now.
You can do anything you want. A 14.333 is not going to be enough to get him on the podium. I'm a little surprised. I thought it would have been higher than that. That was a big-time routine. What a performance from those three gentlemen. China gets back on the top. And how about Kenzo Shirai? Not to be overlooked at all. He keeps that tradition alive for Japan since 2001. They have not missed the podium at a World Championships in the all-around, and he does it again here. But that man, it's his night tonight. So here are your final standings. For China, a bitter redemption after a disappointing showing in Rio. They go 1-2. Kenzo Shirai in the third spot. And for American Yul Moldauer, no medals today, but undoubtedly an outstanding performance. Here's what he had to say about his first World Championships.
I definitely felt nerves, and I definitely felt like I had to represent my country. Of course, you know, we all wish I could have done, you know, a little better and brought home some hardware, but I think for my first Worlds, this was pretty good. You know, I'm here, I'm learning the environment, so hopefully I make next year's World team and can help the team.
Undoubtedly some great things in that young man's future. The men are done. Now it's the women's turn. American Morgan Hurd will take the floor. She tries to keep the streak of U.S. World Champions alive in the women's all-around finals.